You are new to Vienna and might ask yourself, how do I now find an apartment? And what do I have to know when leasing an apartment? My name is Derek Gonzalez, and in this Start Wien video, I will give you an overview of living in Vienna. In Vienna, there are a wide variety of housing options. You will find condominiums that you can buy or lease, apartments leased from private individuals. This type of housing is very common among newly arrived Viennese. City-owned apartments and subsidized apartments, you can obtain these directly from the city of Vienna under certain conditions. And cooperative apartments, you lease these from nonprofit housing cooperatives. You can find housing options on the internet, in newspapers, at property management companies or real estate agencies. For assistance in finding low-income housing, contact the Wohnungsdrehscheibe of Volkshilfe Wien. More on this topic can be found in our Start Wien video, Searching for Apartments and Types of Housing. A lease agreement regulates what the object is, the amount of the monthly gross lease, and whether the lease term is fixed term or indefinite, with a minimum term of 3 years. When you lease an apartment, it's important that you pay on time. The monthly lease includes the living space, the operating costs excluding electricity, gas, internet, TV, etc., and 10% sales tax. There are 2 types of lease: the lease when you sign a lease agreement with the owner of the apartment, and the sublease if you sign the lease agreement with the main tenant. The following costs may be incurred upon signing the lease agreement: the deposit, which you will receive back in full or in part at the end of the tenancy, and the transfer fee, which you only have to pay for certain investments in the apartment. My tip: keep agreements in writing and take out household insurance. More on the topic of tenancy agreements in our Start Wien video, Leasing an Apartment. The mandatory residence registration, the Meldepflicht, applies to all people living in Austria. If you have a new residential address, you must report this within 3 days. The residence registration certificate, the Meldebestätigung, is issued by the respective municipal district office, the Bezirksamt. You need a valid passport, your birth certificate, the birth certificates of all minor children in your household, and the completed residence registration form, Meldezettel, signed by the owner or property management. A list of all residence registration service centers, the residence registration form, and other useful information can be found online at wien.gov.at/Verwaltung/Meldeservice or directly at your municipal district office, Bezirksamt. My tip: the mandatory residence registration is extremely important. It facilitates official channels and is one of the prerequisites for applying for citizenship. When you lease an apartment in Austria, you have rights and obligations. These are outlined in the lease agreement, the house rules, and by law. Clearly regulated are payment of the lease, rights of usage, housing condition, cohabitation with neighbors, maintenance and repairs, or subletting. My tip: find out about your rights and obligations at Mieterhilfe Wien. Living also means living together. To ensure that living with neighbors in a house is harmonious, there are certain house rules to follow. These include maintaining cleanliness, safety and security, peace and consideration, the use of common rooms or barbecues in the courtyard and on the balcony. More on this topic in our Start Wien video, Rights and Obligations Related to Housing.